I felt I was a scapegoat and that they wanted me not to talk. I felt that they wanted me away from information that persons may ask me to provide, and that really wasn't my intent at all. I just wanted to do my job. I really wanted to be left alone and just do my job.
Well, when you said no, I'm not going to resign, and they said, well, we're going to have to fire you, and you realized it's over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that hit you like a ton of bricks.
Oh yeah. I never thought in my entire life that I would walk out of there feeling like a criminal. Not after having put so much into it and wanting to, my plan was I really wanted to retire in 3 years and do something less stressful, but I also wanted to stay because there were technology changes coming about, and I wanted to help my staff to get to the point where we could get 911 to the next level. And I really felt that it was important to do that. But I certainly was looking forward to retiring and doing something far less stressful.
When he told you that if you talked about the investigation, you'd be arrested, did you feel intimidated?
Oh, very much so. And the one thing that I could never get a straight answer from anybody was, who is telling you this? No one would give me a name. And it was the same thing. This mayor's assistant was the only person telling me this. I wasn't hearing it from anyone else. And all, as being somebody who documents and is factual, I just wanted a name. I wanted to find out from the horse's mouth what I had done or why they felt this way, and I couldn't get a name.
Do you think a name exists?
I don't. I don't think a person would say such a thing. I think that they might have said that our department needed to have stronger written communication as to how they wanted to conduct business, because for many years there was no written communication, and what was in place was extremely vague, and maybe they talked about that, but I certainly don't think anyone looked at me as a criminal. No. I regret to this day that I even was honest about things. I feel that I could have simply sat back and not brought forth what I knew and gone about my business and completed my 3 years of service with my mouth shut. And by means, bringing information forth was no benefit to me. I knew that I would be persecuted if I even brought this forth. And so I struggled with it. You know, do I keep my mouth shut and just let it go? And I just felt that many individuals would be affected if I didn't. I just said to Rich Hill, the attorney, I said, may I say one more thing? And he goes, yes. I said, I just want you to know that I did go directly through my chain of command.
And did they say anything to that?
Not a word.
Do you think they understood what that meant?
He didn't ask me any further questions.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, on April 10th, Ms. DePaepe was called late in the afternoon and asked to come down to the mayor's office. And she was told to discuss personnel issues. She went down there at approximately 4:45 and was confronted with the proposition that the city had to do this, had to terminate her or ask for her resignation as a result of information they received from the U.S. Attorney's Office. In other words, the U.S. Attorney's Office was influencing them to make these personnel decisions. My client refused to resign because she has done nothing wrong, and they terminated her. In addition to conveying information which was inaccurate about the involvement of the U.S. Attorney's Office in this decision, they also then threatened that if she said anything about the situation, that she would be arrested. My client had originally got me involved when there was an investigation, and she was being interviewed as a witness in the investigation concerning the recording of telephone lines at the South Bend Police Department. This act of termination was not anticipated and was completely unexpected, and like I said, came completely without warning. I was watching the mayor's State of the City address the other day, and his reference to how he wants to be transparent and how he wants his administration to be transparent and how he wants to respect confidentialities and essentially respect his employees. Karen gave 25 years of her life to this city, and she served with distinction, something I knew of because as a prosecutor, she testified in a number of my cases and was very professional and knew her job inside and out. And she's highly respected within the department, within the city, and by anybody that worked with her. And it is inconsistent and inconceivable for me to see how this city has treated her after such service to it. And then on the other hand, talk about being transparent and having respect.
When you heard what she was told about being threatened to be arrested, what went through your mind?
That it was absurd. There is nothing, in order to be arrested, at least in this country, there has to be probable cause found by a judge or a magistrate that you have committed a crime. You just simply can't be arrested, on someone's whim. And when the threat of being arrested as a result of her using her freedom of speech that she has in this country is it's either pure stupidity or pure arrogance or a mix of both.
Do you feel that your client, that they were attempting to intimidate your client?
Clearly, they were attempting to intimidate my client. And the involvement of the U.S. Attorney's Office, or the implied manipulation of the city departments by the U.S. Attorney's Office that they gave her is not the only time that happened. They did the same thing, as my understanding, to Chief Boykins when they were trying to get him to resign or him to step down. And that, again, is not the way the U.S. Attorney's Office operates.
And obviously, as a prosecutor, you've worked hand in hand with them.
That's correct. That's correct. And there is no, and it's the same way whether you're a state prosecutor or whether you're a federal prosecutor. You don't get involved in trying to influence personnel decisions in whatever agency or whatever entity you're investigating. That's not your job.
Is Karen covered under any kind of whistleblower, legislation?
Well, I believe that she's got a wrongful termination act suit against the city, clearly, under several different theories. And that's one of the theories that we're investigating a possibility of.
How important, talk about the difficulties we face in trying to get to the truth when the policies of a lot of these agencies are to simply deny that anything's even happening. I mean, it makes it really difficult to keep people honest, like the mayor's office, who can use that against people and for their own benefit.
Yeah, I would not tend to disagree with you. I mean, there are policy considerations that justify respecting confidentialities. Clearly there are, and you want to respect that, but there's also a very easy ability to abuse those policy considerations and hide behind them. And it really is the makeup of the person and how they look at things to determine whether or not those policies can be abused.
Did Karen do anything wrong, in your opinion?
In my opinion, no, absolutely not.
Will you speak on any part of the investigation in which Karen participated in?
No, not at this time.
Will you at a future date, should you be allowed to?
Well, quite honestly, it's not a question of whether I believe whether I should be allowed to. It's a question of whether or not I feel it's in my client's best interest. And it is clearly possible that that may evolve into that situation.
Can you divulge at what point, not necessarily the investigation began, but at what point Karen may have found these tapes or recordings or whatever it is we're talking about?
Again, nothing specific with that.
And again, this is just trying to find out where the boundaries are here with what you're going
That's fine.
to talk
Yeah,
about.
I understand.
You've known Karen for a while. Can you talk about the way, what she's expressed to you and the way that this has affected her personally, the way this was handled?
Sure, I think I can. Yeah, I've dealt with Karen for a while, and as I indicated earlier, there were a number of cases when I was prosecuting in this county where I would go to her and ask her for information. She testified in a number of homicide cases I prosecuted in. And you know, the one thing that I always was impressed with Karen, and I've worked with a lot of different agencies and a lot of employees of public agencies, and the one thing that impressed me with Karen is that she was always willing to help. I mean, there wasn't anything, she didn't get upset because it was 5 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon or a Friday afternoon. She would do anything that you asked her to do. And you know, and that is a kind of employee, whether it's a public employee or a private employee, that you want to keep. And whenever she would come into court and she would testify, as I needed her to, she knew what she was doing. She was very professional on the stand. She was prepared, and she came across well to the juries. So, you know, from every level, from her wanting to help to her actual performance, it was you know, extremely well done.
At this point, are you filing a case, or are you in the process of looking into filing a lawsuit against the city?
Well, I guess the best way to describe it, we're looking into filing. You know, it's not the situation where you kick out a form and you file it. I mean, each case presents a unique set of facts, and each case has to be investigated and researched to determine that you've got your facts together and you're able, and whatever you file survives any kind of legal challenge. So I'm in the process of working on that, in conjunction with, obviously, the issue with the federal investigation. So.
Let me see if I can word this properly. Are you aware if anyone other than your client has been provided with a national security letter by the FBI in regards to the investigation Karen helped with?
When you're referring to a national security letter, what are you referring to?
The letter that causes them to deny the letter exists, a gag order, allowing them not to speak about parts of the investigation.
All I can inform you of is that I have not, nor am I aware that my client has been provided with any kind of directive such as that.
And has she been approached by people outside of the current administration of the city with requests to remain silent on the investigation?
Not that I'm aware of.